You've probably heard about layer 1 blockchains like Ethereum, Cardano, Terra, or Avalanche, but there's another type of blockchain some would argue is even better than layer 1 blockchains, layer 2 blockchains. These blockchains are a bit underrepresented and may offer massive gains in 2022 as this industry develops. Layer 1 blockchains like Ethereum allow for developers to build their own dApps through native programming languages. Ethereum is powered by Solidity, for example. But recent developments from a project known as StarkWare now bring smart contract functionality to layer 2 blockchains. This leads some to go as far as say layer 2 blockchains will replace layer 1 blockchains due to functionality and scalability. But does this mean that you should dump your Solana or Cardano for a layer 2 alternative? You probably don't need to do anything that crazy, but layer 2 scaling solutions are a trend you absolutely need to pay attention to, a trend that may pay investors handsomely. So let's dive in and find some alpha in how you might be able to capitalize on this potentially explosive trend. The first layer 2 scaling solution we'll talk about today are plasma chains. Plasma chains were the very first layer 2 scaling solution proposed initially by Vitalik Buterin, who we all know and love, and Joseph Poon, who is the founder of the Lightning Network. Plasma chains allow for the creation of an unlimited number of child chains, basically copies of the Ethereum blockchain, which can offload transactions from the main chain. This sounds wonderful, but it isn't all perfect. Plasma chains have a long waiting period for users to withdraw their funds back to the Ethereum blockchain. This can take up to several days to make the transfer and just isn't okay for many investors. This presented a major issue for the use of plasma chains. I mean, you can't call it a better technology if it's slower than an ACH payment. A more advanced scaling solution was absolutely needed, and this leads us to rollup scaling solutions. Without getting too technical, these are called rollups because they bundle up many different transactions into one. Think of it like you're cleaning up the dinner table after dinner. You could go back and forth putting away one thing at a time, the cup, then the plate, then the napkin, all in separate trips. Let's say it takes 10 trips to clean off the dinner table. Or you could grab as many things as you can carry from the dinner table every trip, and let's say it only takes you 2 trips to clean off everything. Both have the same end result, but the second option was actually less work. This is kind of what a rollup does. A rollup allows a network to scale while retaining the same level of security from the network. There are 2 main types of rollups. One of them is called zero-knowledge rollups. Because some transactions happen off the blockchain in rollups, there has to be a way for the Ethereum chain or the blockchain network to fraud-proof these transactions. ZK rollups use a form of cryptography called zero-knowledge cryptography for proving transactions are valid and secure. In other words, no funny business. ZK rollups are the most efficient of the 2 rollup scaling solutions, but they come with the downside of being less secure than the other option, optimistic rollups, which we'll talk about in a minute. What's fascinating about ZK rollups is that they actually become more efficient as the network gains more users. It's kind of counterintuitive. This is the opposite of how a layer 1 blockchain works. In a layer 1, as a network gets more congested, speeds can slow down and costs can increase. If crypto mass adoption is going to happen, layer 1 blockchains like Solana and Cardano and Avalanche, which are highly scalable, may eventually suffer from being overcrowded and expensive as their user base grow. Everyone in crypto wants mass adoption, but mass adoption poses a significant problem to the growth of the crypto industry. It's sort of a catch-22 here, where the more people that come, the slower and less efficient the blockchains actually will be. Right now, only a small portion of the world uses cryptocurrencies as cryptocurrencies. Let's say this current statistic grows 30-fold, which I would consider to be mass adoption. Chains like Solana and Cardano will fare better than Ethereum at current states. However, these newer general purpose blockchains may still not be able to handle that additional demand. This is where layer 2s come in. Experts like Polygon go as far as saying nearly everything needed in crypto is actually better performed on a rollup versus a layer 1 blockchain. If I were to guess, I would say that a large portion of mainstream crypto adoption will come from crypto gaming, as the gaming industry is already one of the biggest industries in the entire world, far outpacing the film industry. If this is the case, these chains in their current state would have a very hard time supporting full-scale crypto gaming. However, this is to be expected. Crypto is still a very new industry, but advancements are happening. Back in December, one of the most important updates in layer 2 technology happened when ZK rollup platform StarkWare launched their updated protocol, StarkNet Alpha. This allows developers developers to start building and launching applications directly on layer 2s. This is a paradigm shift in blockchain technology and why I believe layer 2s could be one of the most profitable trends in 2022 and beyond. Now, while StarkWare doesn't currently have their own token, there are other layer 2s who do. One example is Immutable X. Immutable X is a layer 2 scaling solution for trading Ethereum NFTs. It was developed by the company behind Gods Unchained, a NFT trading card game. Immutable X currently has a market cap of just under $1 billion. However, that could change at any moment. Given the size of Ethereum, Immutable X could potentially be a top 20 token at some point, which could give it a market cap of up to $20 billion. I mean, if Ethereum can get its fees figured out, it will be hard for any other blockchain to compete. That is the biggest deterrent for Ethereum right now. They have the ecosystem, it's just those darn fees. But this isn't the only opportunity right now. Two other layer 2s which could potentially offer huge rewards are the protocols ZK Sync and Loopring. ZK Sync is a layer 2 which offers cheaper and faster transactions at 2,000 transactions per second. While ZK Sync doesn't currently have a token, many speculate that there will be an airdrop coming at some point in the future. One way you could potentially be eligible for a ZK Sync airdrop, we don't know for sure, but if it happens, you could receive an airdrop through connecting your MetaMask wallet to the ZK Sync mainnet and making a transaction on the network. We saw recently with SOS that airdrops can be worth up to thousands of dollars in rewards simply from using a network. Now, Loopring, on the other hand, has a token, and their token saw some incredible gains towards the end of 2021, going from 40 cents to just over $3. While Loopring now has a multi-billion-dollar market cap, I think it's a good option for anyone who wants to capitalize on layer 2s without taking the risks of investing in a microcap token. Of course, just be careful about going in too deep on a project after some large surges in price. Now that we understand ZK rollups, we need to break down optimistic rollups. While they're not as fast as ZK rollups, the benefit of these scaling solutions is that they offer the same level of security as the Ethereum mainnet. Some say optimistic rollups are the most promising way to scale Ethereum. With optimistic rollups, transactions are accepted optimistically, but validators then check and submit a fraud proof if they find anything to be incorrect. Rollups provide blockchain scaling by processing transactions elsewhere. This is referred to as moving execution to a different domain. So transaction data is put on the main chain, but the transactions are not executed there on the main chain. Instead, they're executed on the Rollup network. This means that the mainnet nodes are no longer required to execute the transactions, reducing their load and the amount of work on those nodes. Unfortunately, there aren't any optimistic rollups which currently have tokens, but two of the most established optimistic rollups right now are Arbitrum and Optimism. It's rumored that Arbitrum may have a token airdrop in the future as well. And then we have Sidechains. Now, Sidechains aren't technically a layer 2 scaling solution, but they accomplish some of the same goals. Sidechains are entirely different blockchains that are compatible with the mainnet of a blockchain. However, they use separate consensus mechanisms not secured by the layer 1, and don't worry if that's confusing. A popular sidechain is called Polygon. One of the drawbacks to sidechains, as Vitalik Buterin said, is if 51% of node operators on Polygon, for instance, agreed to be malicious, they could actually hack your transaction and take all of your money, which is unfortunate. However, this is highly unlikely to happen. We just can't say it's impossible to happen. But how exactly does this work? How can a blockchain be built on another blockchain? On Ethereum, this is made possible by using the same Ethereum virtual machine. This means that contracts deployed to the Ethereum base layer can be directly deployed to the sidechain. This is what Polygon, formerly known as Matic, does. Matic was a plasma scaling solution before they rebranded themselves as Polygon. While Polygon exists as a sidechain for now, it actually aims to create a hub that different blockchains can easily plug into, overcoming some of their individual limitations like high fees, poor scalability, or limited security. This means Polygon will implement a number of different layer 2 scaling solutions, including plasma chains, ZK rollups, and optimistic rollups. They kind of do it all. Polygon had an explosive 2021, going from 2 cents in December 2020 to $2 in May 2021. If you got in and held just for those 5 months, you would have 100x'd your investment. While Polygon isn't likely to 100x again, there is still opportunity here for a potential ROI in the future, as well as with other layer 2 solutions. So the cryptocurrency industry is continuing to grow at a rapid pace. New investors and users are arriving every day, and more programs are being built every single week that allow us to transact, game, and operate on blockchains. And while some believe layer 2s will permanently replace layer 1 blockchains now that ZK rollups have smart contracts, this is still a topic for debate in the world of cryptocurrencies and blockchains. However, it's clear that layer 2 scaling solutions are a must if the industry is to continue gaining new investors. And because of this, I have a hard time believing that layer 2 scaling won't be a profitable niche to invest in. However, as always, you should be careful. Cryptocurrency is still brand new, and there could be other solutions, and there are always risks to investing in this space. From here, I would like to thank my sponsor of this video, iTrust Capital. iTrust allows you to place your crypto in a Roth retirement account. What this means is you can buy, sell, and trade crypto and pay no capital gains on your wins. This is amazing for traders. With a Roth, you pay your tax on your income upfront when putting the money in the account, but then at retirement, you pay no tax once you start pulling out at 59.5 years old. This is probably the most simple way to save on all capital gains tax. iTrust will be linked in the description, and if you use that link to open an account, you'll receive $100 in Bitcoin free for joining. From here, I recommend watching my video on the best methods to get free crypto airdrops, including Arbitrum, which we discussed earlier in this video. I'll have that pinned on the end screen here. I would like to thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.